Welcome back to NTV Weekend Edition. Now, women entrepreneurs are active agents of change to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals (SDGs) by 2030. However, gender disparities still persist. To unlock this, Kenya Commercial Bank has been supporting women-led micro, small and medium enterprises by giving them financial and non-financial support. In our weekly segment, Women Empower, the Managing Director of KCB Bank, Anastasia Kimtai, talks about the role of the bank in promoting financial inclusion and economic empowerment for women in Kenya.
My name is Anastasia Kimtai, Managing Director at KCB Bank Kenya, where we catalyze your economic growth through both customer-centered financial and non-financial solutions. We know that over 90% of employment in Kenya is being created by MSME. And in this MSME, women play a very critical role because 40% of these MSME are run by women. Less than 25% of women in businesses do not access credit. So in the year 2017, we actually did a pilot to really understand what requirements, both financial and non-financial, do our women customers require. And in the year 2022, that is when we launched the Women-Led and Made Enterprises. And the first thing that the women customers told us is that treat us as the bosses we are. Many a times when women go to partake of the services within our country, they are second guessed. You don't believe and trust in them that they are the leaders of their businesses. So we needed to work on this unconscious biasness in terms of how we are treating our women customers. The second challenge that they are going through is that a woman, when they come for a loan or a facility, they've already thought through, and so they require quick TAT. A third area which is very important for majority of the women in this country is that they don't have assets. Traditional banks were still focusing on ensuring that there is a title document. And so we had to go into a cash flow lending where we are able to give you a loan up to a maximum of 10 million without security so that we can unlock the ability of the women to be able to borrow.
Come to our place.
Going to their businesses to understand whether these businesses are profitable. We call it credit methodology, and use their cash flow to assess them whether they have the ability to borrow. And this really unlocked a lot of requests that initially, because of requirement of audited book of accounts, we were not able to process. As of now, we are talking about 115 billion having been advanced to women in businesses. We are talking at about 600,000 women who've come to the table to partake of these solutions. And we have so far trained over 3,000 women in these businesses. And when we talk about both financial and non-financial, we are not only looking at the credit aspect, but we're also looking at how do we strengthen their businesses through capacity building, through workshop, through exposure to best practices, through coaching and mentorship, so that we are looking at the entire ecosystem of women businesses. Looking at the uptake of the women in business when it comes to loans, then we are going back to the drawing board to make sure that once we hit the 250 billion, that our women in business still have additional access. We've transformed businesses, and each and every woman business, there's a life beyond it. Just looking at women and come to talk about how they've grown their businesses from micro to SME, and they are raring to go to corporate because of the financial intervention that we've offered, both financial and non-financial. And because in KCB, we live for the better of our customers, that impact is what we are very proud of, and being the first ones in the industry to be committed and publicly announce our intention to lift the women in business. We have increased the number of women who are working in the bank to 47%. We've also increased the number of women in leadership. These are the ones who are in management role to 41%. And the women who are in executive role is 33%. That's a very, very important milestone, whereby we are launching CEO women in this industry, because we realize that there's so much that we can do individually. But when you pool our resources and majority of us come to the table, then this impact can be huge.
So that you can achieve by the day.
Through also our foundation where we have the KCB Tujiajiri, we are training the women and the ones who traditionally, the environment could call them failures because for one reason or the other they've dropped out of schools. And we are saying, no, you still have a life. So we are taking them back to training. But for those who want to do their businesses, we are giving them tools of work so that they can be able to do their businesses. We've also given an opportunity and have 30% of our procurement directed to women. We are intentional in terms of supporting women to be our suppliers and building their businesses for the future. So our commitment and intention for championing the women conversation and bringing gender parity in this country goes beyond only KCB.
We take a short break, but Bernard Ndong is coming up with a